What's the issue?
What's up?
Why are you coming over here?
I just want to see what you guys are taking pictures of.
Why is it your business?
Oh, you know what? This is my home.
Okay, mine too. Why are you taking pictures
Where
of
do
me?
you live?
I live in Scottsdale. Why are you taking pictures of me?
Michigan plates?
Yeah. Why are you taking pictures of me?
Well, you know what? We've had problems here.
I don't care. You don't know me. Why are you taking pictures of me? And I don't know you. Do you know a lot of white men are doing racist things in this world, sir?
No.
You don't know that? You're not aware
I'm
of
a
that?
racist.
You are a racist.
I'm a racist.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay? So
what's
the
your
issue?
point? Why are you here?
Because this is a no-nigger zone.
Not really.
Oh, is it?
Not really, sir.
Tell me.
This not nigger, no niggers on. I'm here. And what
But
I'm
you
about
don't
to
live
do,
here.
what I'm
But
about
you
to
don't
do,
live here.
I do. I stay here. What I'm about to do,
Yeah.
me and my friend, we about to record our videos,
Okay.
and you not gonna do a motherfucking thing about it. Y'all hear me?
That's fine. Let
You
me,
not
I'll tell
gonna
you
do
what do you
a
want to hear me say?
motherfucking thing. I don't want to hear you say nothing.
Oh, I'll tell you what, though.
You just not gonna do another motherfucking thing. So,
What?
as y'all see,
You're
can't
doing
keep the
it
camera.
doesn't stop
Yeah.
me from doing things.
It doesn't mean shit. I'm about to record my video,
Okay.
and this bitch ass nigga not gonna do anything,
Okay.
and let you try to touch me. Let you try to touch him.
Well, I wouldn't touch
You already disrespected me. Can you step back a little bit? I feel like you harmed me.
We are 6 feet.
Yeah, no. I need you to step back. So, don't listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm gonna lay your bitch ass down.
That's okay.
It's okay. I'm gonna lay you down. I'm gonna lay you down.
You are?
Yeah. So,
You ain't.
just stay where you at.
You ain't man enough.
It's okay. You don't gotta think I'm man enough, my baby. Yeah, just keep it walking. And it's gonna be like that today, y'all. I hope y'all seen all of that. I am a famous YouTuber. This is actually his establishment. So anybody, y'all all know I just moved to Arizona, and this is his friend as well. So anybody that come to this establishment, y'all know what it is. Y'all know exactly what his establishment is, and y'all know where he works. And it's okay. Hey, we got money, and we doing well. He mad. So, we gonna handle it like that. You saw he walked away, because I got something for him and this man. But Kane, pick up your camera. We about to get this in.
Alright, shalom, brothers and sisters. This is your brother Hawayala. I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahawashi. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, and Yahawashi being the name of the Son. Wanted to also give thanks unto, all the brethren, the brothers and sisters that are putting in labor and truth and sincerity, that are waiting on the second coming of our Lord and Savior Yahawashi HaMashiach, that are, fighting against, the evils, the darkness of this world, that they may be able to have a hope of eternal life, and that they also may be able to bring those into the light out of darkness, that they may be able to believe on the one who the Lord had sent. And we know that this is the end of the world. We're approaching it, and of course many things are going on, including incidents like these. And this is kind of like not more of a two-part series. I was actually going to do a lesson concerning this, but because of a question, or I guess something that a brother sent me earlier, I wanted to go into this. A lot of times brothers hear about groups of people, as far as the nations, the biblical nations, and who are they, why are there certain things in the scriptures concerning prophecies. And a lot of times when incidents like this happen, we have people that will go about saying, oh, that Moabite, or oh, that Ammonite, and they'll, our people will be angry, especially those of our people that know that they're, Israelites, or think themselves, all right, to be the children of Israel. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go into just a few scriptures, and I guess a few, documents as well, to go into who Ammon and Moab is. And I'm going to go ahead and show you first, one of the pictures that the brother sent me. And this is basically what the brother saw, I guess, from Instagram. And this is the old, places back in the ancient world, thousands of years ago. This is where the children of Edom were, okay, the children of Moab and the children of Ammon. And Edom and Moab especially, are basically found in end time prophecy concerning, the end times in terms of their position on the earth, and in terms of, them being both taken down as nations by the children of Israel. And as we know, in the last days, we know that there's two primary groups that are considered world powers. One is the so-called white people, okay? And again, like we've said before, not all people that are classified today as white are Edomites, but most of them are. If you have understanding of that, then happy are you. Same thing with as far as with Chinese or Japanese or East Asians. Not all of them are Ammon or Moab, but most of them are. And again, if you understand that, happy are you as well, because we do preach a gospel that is concerning the four quarters of the earth, the scattering of the children of Israel, and they would be scattered among all people, among all nations, among all languages. Okay, this is said over and over again by many prophets. Now, as far as concerning, this particular topic, we're going into national identity. Okay, there's always been speculation, and you got a lot of people that are trying to say that, the people that are ruling the world today, okay, are not Edomites, they're Japheth. We'll get into that if the Lord permits in another time. For this case, we're going to just deal with the Moab and Ammon. Okay, so what I stated to, what we stated before to other people, and what other, people in other camps have said, is that Edom, Moab, and Ammon are not currently in the land of what was formerly known as Canaan, or in the Middle East, okay? At least in those particular areas. For example, in today, the land of Edom, there's Arabs there, okay? There's Arab peoples that have moved into that territory as Edomites left. Same thing with Moab and Ammon, okay? So for this case, we're going to do what Moab and Ammon in their prophecy, okay? And we're going to probably go, if time permits, I'll break this down even further. But I think that this particular lesson, I think that this will be eye-opening to a lot of brothers out there that are watching and wanting to know, because, you're being thrown with a lot of stuff, and brothers start asking a lot of questions and want to know this and that. And you got a lot of guys out there that are in Israel trying to disprove the table of nations that is out there. And they don't understand that a lot of guys have done a lot of studying over the years, over the decades, to gain an understanding of who the peoples are. Some of them they don't have, they haven't been able to break down further on, and that's something that other men will labor on to do. Okay, and that's how it's always been among the men of Israel who were seeking after the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the scriptures, and were occupied in prophecy. And when you're occupied in prophecy, you have to deal with nations. Okay. You always have to deal with nations. It's impossible to say you're dealing with prophecy and you're not dealing with nations at the same time. So we're going to go ahead and start at Ezekiel chapter 25 and verse 8. Thus saith Yahweh, because that Moab and Seir do say, behold, the house of Judah is like unto the heathen. Okay, now Moab and Seir is talking about, Moab, which would be primarily the modern day Chinese. Okay, not all of them are Moabites. You have to go into, deep history and people that have moved over there over time, and then people who've moved over there in modern times since their economic boom. So you just have to have that understanding as well. Seir is referring to the Edomites, okay, because Seir is the mountain, the name of the mountain that they settled in, okay, was known as Mount Seir. So this would be the modern day so-called white man, the same people that control, the European Union, NATO, the United States as we know as Babylon the Great, the same people that have conquered the four corners of the earth over the last 500 years. Okay, that goes without saying. You can prove that historically that that's literally what they did. Now, going into verse 9, therefore, behold, I will open the side of Moab from the cities, and from his cities which are in his frontiers, the glory of the country, Beth Heshimoth, Baal Maon, and Kirathaim. And then it goes into the Ammonites, unto the men of the east with the Ammonites. So this is all, if you look at this is all one sentence. Now, the judgment in 9 and 10 are specifically referring to Ammon and Moab, okay, meaning they will be taking towards the east. And that's basically what happened over time. They were taken eastward. Okay, we'll go into some of the proofings of that if the Lord wills in a future lesson. I'll try and go into the proofings that they indeed went eastward based on some aspects of their culture and what they inherited through their journey towards what is now known as China, and then later, or the East Asian countries, and then also Japan as well. Okay, so when you go into this, it tells you that the Most High laid a judgment that they will be taken eastward. So they were removed out of the land of Ammon and Moab, okay, because of how they of their hatred towards Judah, okay. And if you look at the map, they would have been had a proximity towards Judah in terms of the tribes. Of course, they also battled with some of the northern kingdom tribes as well, as you read through the scriptures. But when you go into this particular prophecy, it tells you that Ammon and Moab would be basically given eastward, okay? And it says, again in verse 10, unto the men of the east with the Ammonites, and will give them in possession, that the Ammonites may not be remembered among the nations. Okay, and I will execute judgments upon Moab, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. Now, when you go into Ammon alone, how were they removed out of remembrance among the nations? Okay, they were removed out of remembrance because the Most High had them go so far east that they even had their own island separated from the rest of the world. If you look up Japan, Japan was the foremost isolationist country on the planet leading into the 20th century. It caused them to not be a people that was known amongst other people. They didn't even trade with outsiders, okay, for an extended period of time. That's how closed off and isolationist that they were. They were removed from a remembrance of the other nations, whereas Moab, they had what was called the Silk Roads, okay, that extended all the way to Europe, okay, as far as trading. Okay, so they did not get that particular judgment to be forgotten among the nations. Now, as far as in these particular times, we know that most people don't believe in biblical nations. Even Christians don't believe in biblical nations. Okay, they believe that all these ancient peoples disappeared off the earth, they don't exist, or they're just the Arabs that are in that land, which is one of the fallacies that is being told to brothers out there by unlearned men. Okay, so I'm going to show you just a map of Moab and its proximity to, where the children of Israel were. And this is from Wikipedia. This is just a simple map. Many brothers have probably seen this over the years. Okay, I've even put it up in other lessons before. This is Moab. Okay, this is Edom, just like you saw on that other map. And this is Ammon. Okay, and if you see here, Judah is right across, okay, the Dead Sea from Moab. Okay, so King Judah and Moab were rivals, okay, and so is Judah and Edom. Just based off of pure geography, it would cause issues between these particular sides. Okay, that's why when I read in the verse 8, it tells you that Moab and Seir, were were rejoicing over Judah that were being like the heathen. Okay, meaning having fallen into basically the idolatry, which led eventually to Judah being taken into captivity by the Babylonians, okay, as you've read before. And that's the reason why you read the book of Ezekiel, okay, it deals with that particular time period, okay, and it also deals with future prophecies. So in addition to that, as we go on, we're going to go ahead and look at Ammon just so you can see the same thing. This is Ammon, okay, the children of Ammon, or also known as the Ammonites. Okay, and a lot of the historians, modern day historians, when they go into these particular nations, you're not going to get much information. Like we always say, for brothers that have studied, different writings, different books, looked up different information, we have seen that the oldest information has always been the more accurate information, because a lot of times that information was only meant for the people that were learned, okay, people that were in the intellectual circles that were supposed to know and understand, world politics, primarily the elites of Edom. Okay, so when they dealt with these different countries, they knew exactly who they were and their background and how they figured prominently in prophecy, so they can try and find the way to either upset prophecy, which they can't do. Okay, The example is China. Okay, for a long time, China was a third world country. I mean, even up into the 80s, they were known for just riding bikes. People didn't even have cars. That's how far gone they were. And the Most High still, raised them up for the sake of end time prophecy. Okay, and China, the bulk of those people being Moabites, it was very important that he had to raise them up for end time prophecy, which we'll get into. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at a few sources that should be very helpful for you brothers and sisters out there. So hopefully after y'all see this, you probably will have not many more questions concerning this particular topic, hopefully. Now, this is from the Destiny's Quarterly. Okay, this is from the volume 38, 1967. I'm going to read this particular one, and this is one of these Destiny's Quarterlies is something that, a lot of learned men read. You had to subscribe to these type of issues via mail, and it was usually people in intellectual circles that would get these particular things. Okay, this is not something that your pork chop eating pastor, minister who doesn't know the scriptures is going to go into. Okay, they're just going to tell you everybody's a Gentile, and the people that's in the land that went into the land in 1948, they're the real children of Israel, and they're going to move from there. This is for learned men that got access to these type of things. So on page 3 of this volume 38, okay, in 1967, this was published by the Destiny's Quarterly. Originally, you can, I think the subject was Anglo-Israelism. Okay, that's what the subject that it'll fall under. Now, I'm going to go ahead and read this. This is concerning end time prophecy, okay? So it says, but there is another army involved in this general move upon Palestine, because this is talking about the Armageddon, the Valley of Jehoshaphat, okay? This is a southern army of which Joel speaks, because this prophet refers to the Valley of Jehoshaphat and to the heathen who are gathered there. Those involved in this invasion will very likely be the descendants of Moab and Ammon, okay? And the reason why they were writing this stuff, because in 1967, I believe you had, the Arab-Israeli War, if I'm not mistaken. You had multiple clashes that were going. You have Yom Kippur. You can look up some of the wars and conflicts that happened after the Khazars, okay, moved into the land under the 1948 United Nations agreement, and they basically started battling with the Arabs for control over that land. And they're going in, so some of these people were going into end time prophecy trying to understand what was going to happen, because they didn't know whether or not it was going to happen at that particular time. So they were having a watchful eye on this particular conflict. Now, when you keep reading, it says that the very likely the descendants of Moab and Ammon, this southern army very likely will be composed of Asiatic hordes. Okay, so who are the Asiatic or Eastern people? Okay, the same people that, we were talking about, the Japanese and the Chinese, or the East Asian peoples. Okay, now not all East Asian peoples fall under the category of Ammon and Moab, but that is the prominent forces, or as far as biblical nations, that have hegemony over those particular areas. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to move on to even heavier information. This is another one from Destiny's Quarterly. This is from the 1963 issue. This is volume 34, page 7. I'm going to go ahead and read it. We'll start at the top. Joel refers to the Valley of Jehoshaphat as a place of judgment, as pointed out in Final Theater of War. It is significant that it was Moab and Ammon, the ancestors of China and Japan. Okay? So the ancestors of China and Japan, okay, go back to Ammon and Moab, okay? And that's how they write it correctly. Moab, because you do it respectively. You say it's Moab, China, Ammon, Japan. That's how it works. And if you know English Lit, that's exactly how you'll match it. If you don't believe that, well, when we get to the next one, then you're going to see that that's exactly who it's talking about. Now it says, who came against Jehoshaphat to battle. Today the descendants are the peoples of the two great heathen countries, both of which will evidently be, and I can't read the rest because this particular book is hard, or volume is hard to get. Okay, I'm pretty sure there's a way that I could probably download it to read the rest, but the case was to first of all just identify the nations. Okay, and you see here that it's identified in this particular writing, which many people do not know about. Now on to the next one. This is from the same one. I believe it's from Destiny's Quarterly. It's called A Journal of American Life and Destiny. That is the name of this particular book. And this is from 1943. It's actually not a book, but it's more of like a Reader's Digest issue that they were sending out. So this one right here, we'll just go ahead and read at the top of the paragraph. It says, as described in the verse preceding the statement regarding Egypt, the prophet tells us that Edom, okay, Turkey. So we've said it before, all right, the Ottoman Turks were Edomites, okay, and that also includes the people that have hegemony over Europe, okay, the people that control the European Union or NATO, and the people that control the Americas, okay, that includes the United States of America as well, which is also known as Babylon the Great, okay. So Edom, they're telling you right there that they know that the Ottoman Turks are Edomites. Okay, this is something that they do know. Also, and Moab, in parentheses, China. Now, this is written in 1943. Right, this is before World War II even came to an end, when China and Japan were heavily involved in World War II. So these people already understand, even back then, these people that have compiled this information, kept it secret from the public, they understood who these people were biblically. Okay? And there's more evidence of the fact that these are these same people. I'm just giving you just a little bit, just showing you via documentation that the Chinese are Moabites and the Japanese are Ammonites. And it says, will be in the conflict against his people. And we're going to get that, okay? We're going to get that prophecy. While Ammon, Japan will have already been brought into subjection before the troubles came upon Egypt. Of the Japanese, the prophet states that they will have become subject to Israel. Okay? And we're going to get that particular prophecy as well. But before we get into that particular prophecy, we're going to go into one which was very well known, even by the people of that time. The Ammonites and the Moabites, especially the Moabites, they would have kept this particular prophecy in their heart because this particular prophecy was given to their king. Okay, now their king, just to give you a brief overview, I advise you, if you want to read more about it, go back to Numbers chapter 22, read chapter 22 and 23, and then read 24 to get the full gist of what we're talking about. But I'm going to just go ahead and give you a quick preface of what I'm about to read. Essentially what happened is when the children of Israel were coming into the land after they had defeated the Amorites, the king of Moab, Balak, was scared of the children of Israel. So what he did is he went and got the elders of the Midianites to come together, and they were going to try and put a curse upon the children of Israel. Okay? And in that, a man by the name of Balaam, who was a sorcerer of that particular time, I believe he would have been of the Midianites, because he was counsel. I guess the counsel came from the elders of Midian, and he was told to go and do this particular curse upon the children of Israel, which when he tried to do it, the Most High reversed it and turned it into a blessing. And the Most High showed him in a vision what was going to happen to the Moabites, which is Balak, the king of Moab's people, in the latter days. So I'm going to go ahead and read it, and you're going to see what this is talking about as the particular prophecies that are written in these particular Reader's Digest journals that we read from the 3 different sources. Okay, so as we start at verse 14, Numbers chapter 24 and verse 14. And now behold, I go unto my people. Come therefore, and I will advise thee what this people shall do to thy people in the latter days. Now remember this. We're going to go back to this map, okay? Because this is Balaam. This is Balaam talking to Balak, the Moabite, about what's going to happen to the Moabites in the last days. Now we're going to go back to this map just for the sake of discussion. Now, if people really believe that people that live in this landmass today, would be a threat to the children of Israel or to world domination, you would sorely be mistaken. So this is one of the reasons why you got to, when some of these people come up with information and try and misconstrue who people really are in prophecy, and they're trying to tell you that a people that only occupy this space would be a threat to, world domination, or a threat to world domination of the children of Israel, the elect that the Most High is going to raise up to take over the earth, right? Beginning with Yahawashi HaMashiach and King David and the 144,000. That doesn't make any sense. This is the reason why we have to deal with end time prophecy when it comes to, nations, okay, and events that will occur. And we have to make sense of these things, all right? So as we go on, we're going to go ahead and go down to verse 15. And he took up his parable and said, Balaam, the son of Beor, had said, and the man whose eyes are open had said, he had said, which heard the words of God and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw the vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes opened. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Sheth. The star out of Jacob that was going to get the scepter is talking about Yahawashi. This is an end time prophecy that was told as we were going into the land. Okay, so this is a thousands of year old prophecy that we're reading right here that will occur in the last days. And why would he need to smite the corners of Moab? The corners of Moab is just that small land, massive, or small people that if you go to that particular area, those people are getting their butts whooped by the Israelis. They're like a no factor. The Jordanians, or the people that are in that land and that occupy that particular space, they don't even have as much power as other Arab states, so to speak. So it doesn't make any sense for them to be the last day the Moabites in the last days, okay? Just like we proved through the scriptures and prophecies and the documents about who Moab is in the last days. And when you would look at China and you see how they've waxed strong and how they appear, at least in the sight of men, to be the next people and to hold the position of power, it would make sense that they would need to be taken down, right, out of the hands of Yahawashi and his elect, right? And going on to verse 18, we're just going to continue reading on down. It says, and Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies, and Israel shall do valiantly. Out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remaineth of the city. Okay, so as we know, this is an end time prophecy. Edom will also have to go down along with Moab. Okay, that links back up to how they look down upon the kingdom of Judah over in Ezekiel, the 25th chapter, primarily when we fell during the time of the Babylonian captivity, and then all the other atrocities that happened after that, even up until this day. As you saw in the video, you saw what we would perceive to be a Moabite, okay? And he showed his hatred towards a brother who was just minding his own business. And you see how he has this pride and ego that he's somehow special above us, okay? And this is the reason why these Moabites have to be taken down. Now, again, don't want brothers going out there, yelling at anybody that looks so-called Chinese, and, if at all possible, be at peace with all men. Understand that our people have been scattered among all nations. If you don't believe that, you shouldn't be preaching the scriptures. You just need to sit down and listen and learn until you have proper understanding. Then you can go out and start preaching to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and do it with faith and not with, carnality, so to speak. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and finish it off with Isaiah 11. This is Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather them together, the dispersed of Judah, from the four corners of the earth. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines towards the west. They shall spoil them of the east together, and they shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. So that's end time prophecy. Now you understand the story that the Most High set from the beginning in his perfect majesty and work that he's, set a long time ago as he's spoken by the mouth of his prophets about what is going to go on in the last days, and how Edom and Moab shall be taken down, all right, by Yahawashi and his elect in the last days, and Ammon shall obey. So hopefully this is edifying. And again, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahawashi. Peace, mercy, and blessings be abound to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom.